So let's go over the materials that we're going to need for this painting, and it's not that much. Let's start with the brushes. First of all, I use this Hake or Hake brush just to wet down the paper, but you can use any brush that you have, any wash brush, to wet down your paper. I use this size 30 wash brush to do the background washes for the painting, and then I use these finer brushes, which is a number 10 sable and a number 2 rigger brush. So if you have a rigger, and it doesn't have to be a number 10, any brush that you have will do. It doesn't have to be these specific sizes. I also will be using a palette knife, and I'll show you that later. For the masking fluid, we have to mask out the flower heads in this, because the flower heads are yellow and they're lighter than the green background, so we have to mask them out while we do the backgrounds. And for that I use a wooden skewer, believe it or not, and I use the back of the wooden skewer to do the flower heads, and I'll be showing you later on how to do that. To save the white of the paper and create some texture, I use a mapping pen with the masking fluid. Now, if you don't have a mapping pen, I bought this at Amazon for about $20, and I find you can get very nice fine lines with it. But if you don't have a mapping pen, you'll be able to use your palette knife, dip it in the masking fluid, and use it like for very fine lines like that. You will need a water bottle that gives you little droplets of water. Let's see if I can get that for you. Yes, like that. Droplets of water like that, which creates some texture. And then I use my little fine mist bottle also for fine misting. And for a palette, I use a ceramic dish that is actually, I think I bought it at a place at World Market or Cost Plus, and it's actually used for serving sushi, I think, but I love using ceramic palettes. I try not to use too much paper towels, so I have these old face cloths that I wash over and over. You need 2 containers of water, one for cleaning off your brush and one for mixing colors. Now, for the colors, I have sap green, Hansa yellow, new gamboge, indigo, and Prussian blue. And we're going to use the Prussian blue with the new gamboge to create a second green. And I've got some white gouache here that you'll see later on. You may not need it, but if you end up not saving enough whites on your watercolors, you can splash on some white gouache at the very end with your palette knife and get back some highlights in your painting. Now, with the paper, you can do this on cold pressed or hot pressed paper. I actually did this painting on hot pressed paper, but in retrospect I think I should have done it on cold pressed paper to get more of the texture of the paper, because we were using a lot of textures in this painting. I did the painting on 11 by 15 size paper, but it may be a good idea for you to do it on half the size until you get used to the technique and feel more confident. And if you take 11 by 15 is a quarter sheet, and if you cut that in half, it's 7.5 by 11, I believe, and that would be a good size to practice on. And if you like what you do, then you can do it again on a larger sheet. And don't forget also, you'll need 2 containers of water, one for cleaning your brushes and one for mixing your paints. Now that you have all your materials together, we can start painting.